Okay, let's look at why your brain craves structure and how we can use that structure in regards to improving our level of creativity. So have you ever noticed how actually when you've got some structure in your day, it actually feels really good versus a day that has no structure at all? So we're going to look at why our brain craves that structure, what happens to us when we don't have that structure in place, and how we can use that structure to unlock our creative clarity. Hi, I'm Carl. I help people find their mental clarity and gain their creative confidence. So moving straight into this video, we're going to look at why our brain craves predictability, all right, which leads into the structure, okay? So the brain craves structure, but why does it crave predictability? Okay, your brain constantly scans for predictability because it's a survival tool, and it's been with us since the hunter-gatherer days. So where we might walk an hour to get to our actual hunting ground from our cave, along that journey, we might go across a level plain, right, where there's no trees, there's no forest, it's just open plain. That would be a safety, there would be a sense of safety when you're walking through that plain, because it's a very predictable layout. You know, it's a very open expanse. Any natural predators are not going to be there to eat you, all right? But then if for a leg of that journey to get to the hunting ground, you've got to go through a densely populated forest, then that's when your brain changes away from that predictability safety, and it's starting to try and keep an eye on so many different things at once, because there could be a natural predator lurking by, there could be some other form of dangerous animal nearby too. So that's why our brain is wired to want that structure and to have some predictability in there as well. Now, what happens when you don't have structure is something can occur that's called decision fatigue, okay? What is that and what does that look like? Okay, so decision fatigue, take it one step back. If we think of two lines of fatigue, right? There's a physical fatigue for our body from doing physical exertion, and there's mental fatigue for our brain. Now, without structure, it's like us being put in that jungle where there's so many different things we need to be taking on board all at once. These are micro decisions. When you have a series of micro decisions constantly, your mental battery, if you will, starts to deplete very quickly. And so if you put these micro decisions into an everyday environment, it's everything from having an untidy environment. So like if your work desk or your office desk is cluttered, untidy, when it comes to wanting to find something or know where something is and it's not in its place, you can waste time trying to find that item. That's extra stress, micro decisions. Or is it here? Is it there? Is it there? Yeah, and things like just like decision making, if it's not something that's readily part of your day, and it's not structured, so like you don't say, okay, so my morning routine is going to look like this up until lunchtime, and then after lunch, then I'll start looking at my emails. If you look at an email every time it comes in, then your day is just full of all of these like micro decisions all day, and that's going to deplete your energy far faster than if you do some of the other strategies that I'm going to mention soon. And not only that, it's just not good from a creative perspective, because you want as much energy constantly as possible, and you don't want your creative time to deplete your energy so that you don't have time left for your family and social life and other things like that. Because when your mental battery is depleted, and you've lost your mental energy, then you start becoming more irritable. You then turn on basically a higher level of avoidance because you just can't be bothered with dealing with other things. You risk emotional dysregulation. So there's a number of things that come about from mental fatigue. So we want to avoid that at all costs. Okay, so what can we do about it? Well, we can bring in some, strategic simplification. Like, let's try and make things simple. Now, I don't know I'm going to use this example, and I don't know if everyone knows about it, but the likes of like Steve Jobs, like Zuckerberg, even I think I could use Elon Musk as another example. They have very basic wardrobes, okay? And it's not because I don't believe it's because they don't have a fashion sense. It's definitely not because they don't have money to have, an extravagant wardrobe. It's because they don't want to deplete any of their energy on a decision process that they don't deem important. They don't want to actually decide what they've got to wear or what goes with what. They just buy a ton of shirts and pants and shoes and everything else that looks the same, and they just grab what they need and wear it. That's an example. That's a bit of an extreme example of simplifying, your day, like structure simplification. But you can do it with things like, I have a morning routine. So if you want to get up, you just try and get up at the same time. You do the same, series of stretches, get yourself, ready for work. I start off having a glass of water before I do anything else. Just things are always structured in the same, and they don't require any thought. I have the same breakfast, just things like that. Set up routines that are rinse and repeat. It's going to actually help you store more of your mental energy. So simplify your day. Now, I love this part, time blocking. Okay, I'm a big fan of this. So time blocking is primarily about you blocking out certain times of your day that suit your energy levels best. So if you're fortunate enough to be able to do like your videos whenever you like, I'd highly recommend doing them in the morning. First thing, or assuming you are getting up in the morning like everyone else, but you do it first thing in the morning, because that's when your energy levels are 100%. And the creative space, no matter what you're doing as far as the creative goes, that's your key time to do it. And so if you've got that ability to do that, that's when you should choose to do that. And so then other things that you might need to get done in a day, like running errands, grocery shopping, or whatever it is, you go and you do those towards the end of the day where there's less mental energy required. So you've used the peak of your mental energy when it's needed, and then you've saved tasks that don't need a lot of mental energy for later in the day. So that's time blocking. But there's another element you can take to that, and that is to batch or, put a whole lot of common tasks and group them together. Because by doing that, then you're not having to expend energy unnecessarily. And I can use content creation as a prime example, because I batch videos, right? Because I do come outdoors, and I won't want to set up my camera once, set myself up once. If the day's fine, I want to maximize that time that I've got on a fine day because I'm outside. So there's a reason why I batch, for a number of reasons, and it saves you time, saves you energy. I do batch editing as well, so then I'll edit these videos in one session, or maybe not all of them, but at least 2 at a time, because I'm there anyway. I'll get it out of the way. I don't have the luxury, though, of being able to do this stuff in the morning because I work full time. Could we have an exception in the summertime? I've just started my channel, so I haven't experienced it in the summer yet, but I would get time in the morning should I want to do that. But what I do is I time block in a week as well, not just in days. So for my week, what I do is I choose to try and record on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because that's the start of my week. That's when my mental energy is at its highest. I have a lot going on Thursdays that involves a lot of meetings with people, and someone that has, mental barriers in that space, that depletes my energy very quickly and severely. So Thursday, Fridays are pretty much a no-go. Weekends are okay. If I got time, I can do something on the weekend, and the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday evenings as an example. That's my time blocking. Okay. Now, I know what a lot of people might be thinking as a creative is that you don't want any restrictions. You want to be able to do what you want when you want. This isn't coming from a place of having a very rigid form of structure. It's just a foundation, a form of structure, because it makes sense to maximize your energy and to look at it that way. Okay, but if for whatever reason something isn't going to work out, how you originally planned. Like for me, if I plan it Monday to Wednesday to film and the weather's been absolutely ordinary, then I can't do it. It doesn't mean I can't do anything and I don't let it derail me. I'll find other things that I can do, like a lot of brainstorming. I can go, and refine my edits on any videos that I currently do still have in my library, or anything along those lines. There's definitely other ways that I can keep myself productive. All right. And so it's not so stringent that I have to do it at all costs, and it doesn't give me any flexibility to even just choose not to do it on that day. You can choose to still do whatever you like. This is just a flexible structure and foundation for you as a creative. One other thing I'll touch on that depletes energy without you realizing it, and they're tiny tasks, like small things. And when it comes to real tiny things that are sort of out of the blue, I refer to what's known as a 2-minute rule. And if something comes up in your day that can be done in 2 minutes, just do it, okay? As long as it's not then going to snowball with a whole lot of tack-on items that then steal your time away. Because what happens if you don't target those 2-minute things when they come up, by the end of the day you can have a number of them, and yet your mind subconsciously will still be thinking about those things because it wants to lock in. It doesn't want to forget about them because it knows it's going to have to get to them maybe the next day or whenever it is. So a good example of that as a content creator could be the fact that, okay, let's say in the mornings you already put aside some time to answer any queries and comments to your videos, and you've already done that for the day. And then in the evening, you get an alert come up on your watch that basically shows you a comment that's been posted against one of your videos, and it's more of a question, and it's an awesome question, and you really want to answer that right there and then. Take you less than 2 minutes, do it. Just go ahead and get it out of the way. Don't think you've got to then leave that to your next morning and batch it on, because it's actually going to be playing on your mind. So I just want to reiterate the fact that this is a flexible structure. All right, it's not set in stone. But I think some structure will definitely go a long way to anyone's creative journey. Now, if this has been a video that you've actually enjoyed, please consider subscribing and liking. It definitely goes a long way to helping me and my channel out. And the algorithm's going to choose a video and a playlist shortly and put them up on the end screen. And by all means, if you want to watch something else, you can take its recommendation and run with that. And until next time, look after yourself.